pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Is there any public comment on matters not on our agenda but under the city's jurisdiction? Seeing none, we'll move to the minutes from August 19th. Council has received those minutes. Are there any corrections or additions?
Mayor, if I may.
Yes.
I believe that at our last meeting, during our end of meeting roundtable, that I had asked you to follow up on the idea of whether or not a quorum was modified because of the lack of a sitting member. And that didn't make it into the minutes.
Carrie, did you catch that?
No.
I mean, you need JD to repeat what he just said?
A quorum.
After Angie had made her comments about the housing survey, I had asked the mayor to contact the city attorney and ask if there was a problem with establishing a quorum, 3 people versus 4 people, because of the unseated member of the council.
Okay.
Because that's going to affect how committees get organized.
Okay, and we get that added.
Are there any other corrections to the minutes? Seeing none, I will entertain a motion to approve the minutes as corrected.
I'll make a motion that we approve the minutes as corrected.
Is there a second?
I'll second.
It's been moved and seconded to approve the minutes of August 19th, 2025 as corrected. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? That motion is carried. First item on our agenda this evening is a letter from Chase Reagan, City Council members. A few months ago when I approached the City Council regarding billing issues with the fencing, I also requested that the Council consider a 90-day notification period when city billing amounts are modified. The majority of you were in agreement. However, a motion was not made at that time. I respectfully request that the city ordinance is updated to reflect a 90-day grace period for changes in historical billing for these reasons. This is standard business practice. Both business and citizens must be given time to make adjustments to their own budgets, both business and personal. The city gave appropriate notice when the increases took effect last year, so let's make it official in our city ordinance. The budget for the year is already set. Since the budget is already set, there is no reason why the city cannot give appropriate time for adjustments in billing. What is the rush to add additional monies to the general fund, and where are these monies allocated to? Is this a slush fund? Contractors are booked way out on their schedule due to demand. For i.e., my plumber is scheduled to update the laundromat inlet line next week. He was 2 months out in booking, and this was the soonest he could get to it. By having a 90-day notice, this gives us citizens adequate time to research and engage contractors to get any necessary work done. I respectfully request that $414.89 be removed from my current bill due to the amount of time it took me to remedy the situation at the laundromat. See item number 3 above. Based on the current size of my inlet line, if you were to go back in time and adjust my billing to reflect my current size of inlet, you will note that I underpaid $69 for June and $97 for July. I am using the August billing as a baseline to backdate the billing. With this logic, I owe an additional $166.13 to my current bill of $279.04 to total $445.17. The $414.89 represents an overage in billing based upon the sudden change to my schedule. This request reflects a situation where, given a 90-day notice before any changes were executed to billing, I would have been able to get a contractor plumber to make the changes prior to any billing schedule is modified. I look forward to hearing from you. Respectfully, Chase Reagan. First, council members, I would like to address some misconceptions in this letter, particularly with respect to item number 2. The water money, the money that comes in from the billings for water goes to a water fund. It does not go to a general fund. Those monies are allocated to expenses incurred by providing water service to our consumers. Secondly, the budget being set has nothing to do with billing. The budget is a spending plan and the funding comes in during the course of the year. I'd also like to remind council that with respect to the water rate changes, June 18th, 2024, council passed the resolution of intent to increase the water rates. Required notices were published in the Montana 43 News on May 24th, May 31st, and June 7th. We held a public hearing, the real public hearing on July 16, 2024. If you will remember, we had originally intended to have a public hearing on June 18th, 2024, but the notices to our consumers did not include all of the information they were supposed to, so we did it again. The resolution to adjust rates was adopted August 6, 2024, with increases taking effect September 1st, November 1st, and January 1st. These increases, as you will recall, were necessary to qualify for the state revolving loan funding for the water system, which totaled $12,195,000. $5 million of that we expect to be forgiven, leaving $7,195,000 to be paid back over 30 years at a 2.5% interest rate. In March of this year, city staff discovered that metered rates, some of the metered service lines were in our billing system incorrectly. This caused us to generate a letter going out approximately April 1st to notify those metered consumers of revised billing, and that revised billing was to take place June 1. This delay between the notification, the discovery time, and the effective date time was actually in response to the situation Mr. Reagan refers to with the Betsy, where council chose to waive 3 or 4 months of water billing to the department above the Betsy. The city is billing our metered customers according to the line size that feed the premises. This has to be done because that is the city ordinance. And this document has a whole bunch of bond indentures and legal requirements. Includes a provision in it that says the charges for water services shall be billed at least monthly, and if the bill is not paid within 90 days of the date of billing, or if the customer fails to comply with the rules and regulations established for the system within 90 days after notice of violation thereof, which notice shall be given promptly upon discovery of any such violation. The water service to the premises involved shall be discontinued and shall not be resumed until payment agreement for water service and compliance, resumed until payment of all past due bills for water service or approval by the council of the contractual payment agreement for water service and compliance with all such rules and regulations. The borrower shall take legal action to collect the unpaid charges, including to the extent now or hereafter authorized by law, making the charge a lien against the real property served by the water connection for which the charge remains unpaid, and causing charges with respect to such properties to be collected in the same manner as taxes levied against property within the borrower. Are there any questions from council or comments from council with respect to Mr. Reagan's letter?
Mayor, if we could we deal with the two issues from the letter separately? The issue of the ordinance review versus the issue of the back payment?
Certainly.
I appreciate that. The government intentionally moved slowly. No motion could have been made at the time. Even if we agreed that it should happen, and we all believe it's a good idea, the process of changing law takes a lot of time. We're working through a 5-year plan to update all of the ordinances in the city. And this is just one of them. And at the moment, we have just one complainant, yourself. So while we don't disagree with what you want in principle, trying to rush us into the ordinance process isn't wise. That water process has more review that's necessary than just this one issue. So I'm hoping that you'll agree that we need to proceed with our normal procedures, our standard operating procedures for these review, and it will be updated in its due course. Thank you.
Yes, other comments, questions from council?
Hands are kind of tied at the moment.
Mr. Reagan, would you like to add any more to your letter?
Well, just to recap a couple of things is both situations with the Betsy and laundromat were outside of the situation that was noticed, as you mentioned, back in August of 24. And a lot of cities, they have grandfathers, they grandfather people in, or if they don't grandfather people in, they look at the situation holistically and say, what's the intent? Is Mr. Reagan trying to ask for a favor? Is he trying to manipulate the ordinances? Did he know? And I think if you were to take a look at all that's transpired with both of those businesses, you would everyone I would hope to come to agree that, hey, this, no one knew. The city knew about the laundromat years ago, but they just knew it was also on a meter. So the common sense part of it, I assume, was, well, since Mr. Reagan's using 14,000 gallons on average a month, does it make sense to